Welcome to the ultimate Cuphead weapon charm tier list thing. We're going to be ranking every Cuphead weapon, every charm, every super art, and it's gonna be fun. Every Cuphead weapon, charm, EX, every weapon, EX, charm, and super art, I'm pretty sure. We have included Miss Chalice super arts as well. So, let's get into it, shall we? Alright, first off, Pea Shooter. B tier. Pea Shooter is, honestly, it's a pretty good gun. It's really simplistic, I guess you could say, because it's, what am I saying? It's you can fire it off in a straight line, basically, is what I'm talking about. And when you're firing off into a straight line, it makes hitting your target a lot easier, especially in the run and gun stages. I think this is kind of a hot take, but Pea Shooter for the run and gun stages is the best weapon. Pea Shooter is the best weapon for run and gun stages, in my opinion. Then we have the Pea Shooter EX. It's also gonna go into B tier. I think that the Pea Shooter EX it's kind of like just a Pea Shooter, but it does more damage, right? The Spread Shot goes into A tier. So, in my opinion, I think the Spread Shot goes into A tier because the Spread Shot is like, it has the most DPS in the game, but only if you get all three to hit, and to get all three to hit, you have to be up close to the enemy, and it's a close range weapon. It can do a ton of damage if you're close up to the enemy. I wouldn't put it in S tier because getting up close to the enemy is difficult, but I'm definitely putting that in a solid A tier. And the Spread EX goes into either B or C. It's like, it's worse than the Pea Shooters and the Pea Shooter EX and stuff. By the way, the rankings, like, of course every EX is going to be better than the regular shot. I'm going to say it's on a solid B tier. It can do the most damage out of any EX in the game, but you have to get inside of the enemy, and most of the time that means you're taking damage because of it. Chaser. Again, leaning on between B and C. This time I'm also probably going to go B. There's just a better version of the Chaser. It homes in on enemies, and yeah, Chaser EX is going in D. The Chaser EX is D tier. Sorry, Chaser. But it's like, Chaser is like, in my opinion, the Chaser is just like, there's a better version of it, and it homes in on enemies, but its damage is very low, if you see what I'm saying. The Lobber, it goes higher than Spread, in my opinion. It goes in A tier, but lower than Spread, I'd say. Lobber it has high damage, and the EX is also going up in A tier with Lobber. It has a high damage output, and it's you have to be able to aim well. It only works well with like platforming bosses, but when it works well, it works wonders well. So, and you know, it still does a very high amount of damage, like Rumor Honeybottoms, Grim Matchstick, Flowey the Flower, Candy Carnation character. Yeah. That's all I can really say about the Lobbers. It goes up and then it goes down. Like, it doesn't really go up much, but it goes down. The Charge. B tier. I'm going B tier. I wouldn't put it above Pea Shooter. I think I'll put it above Chaser, but I wouldn't put it above Pea Shooter. And Charge EX goes in C. The Charge Shot it's just like you gotta hold it, and when you hold it, it does a bunch of damage. But the uncharged charge, it does such low damage, and I don't really like it because, you know, you could like it a lot, but it's pretty controversial. But you know, when you dash, the charge doesn't hold, and yes, it does a lot of damage, but you gotta wait for each shot, pretty much. So that kind of averages out the DPS to just be regular average. And at that point, why don't you just use like pea shooter or something? Roundabout. Roundabout, easy S tier. Easy S tier. If you're not counting DLC, the roundabout is the best weapon in the entire game. For a few reasons. For one, when you shoot, it goes backwards, making it really easy to pretty much hit anything. Easy S tier. And when you turn around, like, let's say you're shooting backwards, so it hits enemies, but when you turn around, it'll just have a bunch of roundabout bullets hit the enemy at one time. Easy, easy, easy S tier. As for Roundabout EX, I'm going to put that in A tier. It's kind of a higher up A, but I wouldn't quite put it in S. I don't love it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Crackshot. Better than Roundabout, in my opinion. Crackshot is like, it's your first DLC weapon, and it's pretty much just the chaser, but on steroids. When you shoot the Crackshot, it will do a high amount of damage, and if it misses, it will crack and it will home in on any enemy. I saw this like meme thing on Google when I was looking at trying to find images for this Crackshot thing. It was like chaser after buying the Crackshot, and it's just like, I don't want to play with you anymore. The Crackshot is like the chaser, but much, much better. It has slightly lower fire range, but even then, it still has a slightly higher DPS than chaser. So if you aim it at the enemy, it'll do a high amount of damage, and even if you don't and you use it like chaser, it's slightly better. The chaser EX, I'll put in B, lower than the pea shooter and pea shooter EX. It's not great. When you shoot it, it'll do lasers, doing even more damage to enemies, which is good. Or you can parry it into enemies, but really any way you do it, it doesn't really do that much damage. Yeah, I'll put it higher, because if you're using Heart Ring, this can get you extra HP, and it can kind of help you build up some more super art, or not super art. When you parry it, it does build up your card a little bit more. Converge. Honestly, it's just like a worse spreader, in my opinion. I think Converge is kind of just like a worse spreader, so for that reason, I'm putting it, I'm gonna put it above Chaser. I don't know, Converge is just like a worse version of the spreader. You know, I mean, you might be thinking, well, it's like a spreader, but you can go further, but I don't really think it does nearly as much damage as the spreader does, and it's very hard to get all three to hit. The piercing is kind of nice, especially for like Ribby and Croaks or something, where Croaks is behind Ribby, so you're kind of doing double damage. But a lot of the time, there's a much better weapon to use than Converge. As for the Converge EX, better than Spread EX, but still D tier, right? The Converge EX it pierces through enemies. You'll see it. You can see it right there. But the Converge EX it just doesn't really do that much damage. I mean, it can do a lot of damage if you spam it, but spamming other spamming other EXs will do even more damage. So the Converge EX doesn't really do much damage. Twist Up. Twist Up is A tier. I'm gonna put it the lowest A tier. It's not quite B tier. I'm gonna put Twist Up at A tier. it helps a whole lot with the first phase of Phantom Express. In fact, if you try it on the first phase of Phantom Express, go on the end of the train, duck, and use twist up, and it will annihilate all the eyes and stuff. And it works really effective with bosses above you. Twist up is like, it has kind of like the DPS of the roundabout, but it shoots upwards. I'll put it low A, not quite B, but low A. I find the twist up EX also to be A tier. Just above twist up, I'll say. I find it to also be A tier. Cause, you know, the twist up EX is, it summons like a big thing, and it works really well when you get it inside of the enemy. But I just find the roundabout and all this, and like, I find the roundabout and Logger EX to be better, of course. The extra heart. So we're getting into charms now, and I'll put extra heart solid A tier. Where am I gonna put it in A tier? Well, I can't really rank charms and guns as the same, so I'm just gonna put it like as a side of guns, right? Because I can't really put that in kind of like a ranking. But extra heart, actually, it's useful beginning of the game, but not really at end game. So I'm actually gonna say B tier on that. Coffee. Now, coffee's an A tier. It's basically like, it builds up EXes like at pretty much double the speed, which can really help get rid of bosses faster. Yeah, solid A tier. Smoke bomb is better than coffee. When you dash, it's basically like when you dash, you turn invisible for a second. And it's like you're invincible when you dash, basically. Pea sugar. Am I gonna give this D tier or am I gonna give this F tier? I'm gonna give it D tier. Pea sugar is useless. Let's be real here. Who uses this weapon, right? Pretty much it makes it so that you don't have to press the button when you parry. But at that point, it's basically you just have to press one extra button. It doesn't really help out that much. I'm taking Twin Hearts and putting it in C tier. I just find Extra Heart to be better. Twin Hearts lowers your damage output by 10%, while Extra only lowers it by 5%. 5% isn't really that much, but when you're doing it at 10%, it doesn't really help more than the Extra Heart. I'm more of a fan of Extra than Twin Hearts, which is unfortunate because Twin Hearts costs more. Whetstone is F tier. Nobody uses Whetstone. Whetstone is absolutely useless. Like, you can parry on enemies, but it does a really low amount of damage to enemies. And yeah, so if you want to parry off of everything, you can do it. But, you parry on enemies and it does a really small amount of damage. And it's really bad. Who uses Whetstone? Astral Cookie. Astral Cookie's S tier. It's Miss Chalice, right? Astral Cookie is, it's like a brink between A and S tier. But Miss Chalice has an extra heart and also the invincible roll and a double jump, which is much better than Cuphead and Mugman, but you can't equip any other charms, which is pretty much my only downside with it. It would have been cool to see Miss Chalice as like a third player, because sometimes me and some friends, we want to play like a 3-player game of Cuphead, but we can't because Miss Chalice is a charm. Broken Relic. Is it higher or lower than Whetstone? The reason I kind of want to put it higher than Whetstone is it turns into Divine Relic, and I haven't ranked Divine Relic yet, but you already know what I'm putting Divine Relic. But if it's a charm, like, on its own, it's lower than Whetstone. So I'm gonna put this lower than Whetstone on F tier. Cursed Relic. It's better than pea sugar, I'd say. Yeah, someone fight me, but why did I put it worse? It's better than pea sugar, I'd say. Actually, you know what? C tier. I'm gonna put it low C tier. The 1 HP is kind of sucks, but it's like if you when you're shooting then and you stop shooting, then it's gonna randomly change to a different gun. So it's pretty much you can have all of the guns in the game, no matter if you have it or not. And then it's also all the charms combined into one. So if you're lucky, it can give you an extra heart because of like heart ring benefits and stuff. Next up is Divine Relic. Easy S tier. It's literally Cursed Relic, but you have 3 HP at the beginning. It's, I'd say, Divine Relic. In fact, I'm gonna put Cursed Relic over Twin Hearts. But like Divine Relic it's better than Miss Chalice. It's every gun in the game and most charms in the game combined. Heart Ring. Another easy S tier. Is it above or below Cursed Relic? I put it below Cursed Relic because Cursed Relic has Heart Ring inside of it. But, you know, Heart Ring is the easiest S tier of my life, dude. Heart Ring is great. Alright, now time for Super Arts for Cuphead. Let's start off with Cuphead's Super Art 1. Super Art 1 for Cuphead is an energy beam that does a lot of damage. But, you know, this one is just better, the third one. So, I am going to put it at B tier. Solid B. I'm gonna put it. It's like Super Art 3 for Cuphead is, in my opinion, just better, right? So, I'm putting it at B tier. Kind of low B. Then we have Invincibility. Now, in my all A+ runs, and I'm probably going to post a video on my experience with that soon, because, you know, by the way, shoutouts to Snazzy Dan for the inspiration on that.
I'm making the chore list.
And, so, I'm going to put this...
Logan, I need a pen.
I'm going to put this not at S tier, but I'm going to put it at A. Alright, A tier is... Yeah, I'm putting this at a solid A tier. Super Art 3, I never actually ended up using this, but it can do more damage than 1. So I'm going to put this in A tier below Invincibility. Miss Chalice Super Art 1, I would say it's worse than Cuphead Super Art 1, because it's in a vertical energy beam, and most bosses aren't above you. I mean, it's alright. It does more damage than Cuphead Super Art 1, but since it's spiral and vertical, I don't really like it. Miss Chalice's Super Art 2, better than Cuphead Super Art 2. I'm just gonna straight up say, Miss Chalice's Super Art 2, better than Cuphead Super Art 2. And finally, we have Miss Chalice's Super Art 3, S tier, easy S tier, dude.
Wait,
this
Logan,
does
Logan.
What?
You put Michelle Super tier behind Cuphead Super.
Oh yeah, this is ahead when it goes in this order. But Miss Chalice Super Art 3, it's an easy S tier. probably in my not probably in my opinion, it's the best super art in the game. It's just like Cuphead Super Art 1, but on steroids. You can it pretty much if I could describe a screen nuke, the biggest screen nuke in this game is Miss Chalice Super Art 3. It does a whole bunch of damage and it pretty much wipes out everything on the screen. Except for the boss, but it does a super high damage. So that's it for this video. In my opinion, the best weapons, charms, supers, and everything in this game. I will see you guys next time. And goodbye.
Wait, go check out my channel.
Yeah, go check out her channel. It's linked in the description.